Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, I mean, this is from the same people who say, we create our own reality. Now, they may be able to live in that delusional world, but for the rest of us, if they're creating their own reality, when in our reality the world's going to hell and the economy's on its knees, then our reality is hell on earth compared to theirs, which they say they create. I mean, these people should not be in government anymore. They should be put in prison because they're completely coming out with ludicrous things like reduce carbon emissions to absolute zero when humans breathe carbon dioxide.
Well, that's our chief gas output, that and methane. Methane comes out the tailpipe, and carbon dioxide comes out the blower.
But, I mean, don't think it's going to get any better. Obama, Hillary, and McCain are all pledging 60 to 80% cuts in carbon emissions by 2050. Obama and Hillary, obviously, you know, they're favourites to win, are for an 80% reduction. So it's little better than what the Carnegie Institute are demanding with the zero carbon emissions.
Paul Watson, I want to get into your report today, Professor. Big money behind global warming propaganda. And the other story you did yesterday is in the News in Focus, right-hand side of PrisonPlanet.com. This needs to get out to everybody, with the head of the CFR and others calling for world government and micromanaging your life to death. By making 50% of the life-giving gas on the planet and the symbiotic relationship between plants and animals, photosynthesis, and animal respiration, they have a total monopoly on life on the planet. And if they can have a monopoly on diamonds or a monopoly on oil, why not have a monopoly on air? While you're scared to death under your table at night from carbon dioxide, thinking it's going to devil kill you any minute, they are busy pumping the atmosphere full of everything you can imagine and your water. I would challenge everyone to go to Infowars.com, click through on the secure shopping cart, and get the GMO Trilogy, 2 DVD films, and an audio CD for $19.95 to understand true environmental crises that's hurting the birds, the bees, and the people, namely, and to understand what we're facing, again, at Infowars.com. Paul, I want to get in this segment and the next with you. The next one's coming on, and I appreciate you joining us, spending so much time with us in your busy schedule. I want to get into this other report, Professor, big money behind global warming propaganda. Just shows it's starting to come out. PrisonPlanet.tv. We've added better servers, more material. You run PrisonPlanet.tv. Give people that aren't members and members a report on what you get when you are a member for 15 cents a day.
Well, I think a lot of people are confused into thinking that you just get Alex's documentary films, but in reality we had 2 or 3 extra video reports every single week, most of which are in streaming flash quality, which means you don't have to sit there and wait for it to download. The best videos that we put out are all in streaming flash, so you can play them straight away as you would on YouTube or Google Video.
But it's 20 times better, the quality. It's incredible.
Exactly. You said you were introducing high def. It's almost high def at the moment, but the back catalogue, because it's been online since April 2004, that's nearly 4 years, is so massive that not only are you getting access to the films, but you're getting access to a library of video and multimedia material that, you know, you could sit there and watch it for 6 months and you still wouldn't watch it all. So you're getting so much on top of all the stuff we had from day to day.
You can get 3 months free right now when you sign up for a year, or get a monthly trial membership for $5.95. With the dollar being devalued, I'm going to tell you in the next few months we're probably going to have to go up on price because of our cost. We're using about 50 terabytes a month right now. I've bought 200, and that's because we are going to start. I'm going to reload all of my 18 films in the high def, even though only portions of them were shot in high def. Most of Endgame was shot in high def, HD, and a lot of Terror Storm was shot in it, and so those are going to be in high def. Professor, big money behind global warming propaganda. Great story, Paul.
Yeah, it just goes to show that this so-called consensus that global warming is man-made is, imploding on a daily basis. Kind of like the 9/11 truth movement has an army of professors and scientists and scholars that doubt the official 9/11 story. So does the climate change arena, because there's a growing amount that do, but they're always shunned by the mainstream media.
Well, more than that, now there's calls every day for their arrest. They're saying it's like Holocaust denial. It needs to be illegal.
Exactly, and when it gets to that level again, they're only discrediting themselves by reaching to such a ridiculous extreme and showing us in a good light.
Stay there. I want to talk about this new story you've got. The story, Professor, big money behind global warming propaganda, and the other one he did yesterday, new proposal to fight global warming would end civilization, kill billions. These are both on Prison Planet. These stories need to get out to everyone. Final segment with Paul Watson today. The people that force the one-child policy on China are the people that are setting up the global warming hoax, the global taxation grid. Continuing with Professor, big money behind global warming propaganda, a Prison Planet article. Another professor challenges the so-called consensus behind man-made global climate change as we have one of the coldest winters on record. Paul?
That's right, and China, the biggest producer of CO2, has just had its coldest winter in 100 years. Saudi Arabia is reeling from a massive cold snap that's unprecedented. But this professor, emeritus professor of physics from the University of Connecticut, basically, I think he was neutral on the issue, but then he visited New York and saw a giant billboard. I think it was the diesel billboard, which I've got up there on the article, about global warming. And then he later learned that the cost of the billboard was $700,000 a month. So that's how much it costs to advertise this. And he basically makes the point that we live in a carbon-starved environment compared to past periods of history like the Jurassic period, when levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere were as much as 11 times or more. By comparison, we're living in a carbon dioxide-starved environment. But if they're going to reduce carbon emissions to absolute zero, which is what we're being told by this Carnegie report, then they're going to have to kill 6 billion of us first because we exhale it. There's also the fact that they're going to have to completely eliminate the Amazon rainforest because most experts say that through the rotting vegetation, it releases more carbon dioxide than it absorbs. So in that sense, they're going to have to deforest most
I was
of the
about
planet.
to say, you ought to do a headline where to reach UN Carnegie goal, all plankton and plants must be killed immediately. And then just explain it. It's so asinine, but we have people in the U.S. who can't find China on a map, much less under this global warming system. They make no cuts, we make all the cuts. It's just pure bull. But it's like Goebbels said, the bigger the lie, the more they'll believe it. It's such a fraud. I mean, any moron knows it's a fraud.
The problem is that one in 5 Americans believe that the sun revolves around the earth. So, they're probably at the same level of intellect as that Rothschild guy who thought that Jupiter was closer to the sun than Earth. But 3% is what this professor is saying. You said it's 6%.
The UN says at the top, humans are responsible for 6%. We ought to have giant carbon generating factories. I mean, it just generates life. Carbon dioxide is more tied to plant life than even water. And I've seen the studies going back 50 years of desertification expanding in the Sahara because of carbon dioxide level. I mean, I remember reading a decade, more than that, ago, Paul, about real scientists, real institutions who weren't even looking at global warming, was non-political, saying plants are in trouble because the Earth is in a low carbon dioxide system right now.
Right, exactly, and that's what the studies show from past periods in history where high levels of carbon dioxide produce, bountiful environments. But again, the source of what we're being told about global warming is these elitists that control oil companies and control governments. And we've got this army of eco-mentalists who are more prepared to believe that propaganda than believe these scientists who are pointing out the basic facts.
And that's because from first grade to college they were brainwashed and they can't understand it. Paul Watson, running PrisonPlanet.com. Fabulous job, great reports. I'm asking people, if they choose to take this mission, to get your two stories and get them out to everybody.